I think we signed with you guys in June of this June. Well, this Big Rock will be 2 years, I believe. It's been about a 2-year process of this whole thing. I mean, we're only 3 weeks from Big Rock, so we're just about there. We had a, end 1st of June kind of goal, trying to get it to the ship and that sort of thing, because it's supposed to go to Australia, and then problems with the 175 changed things around a little bit, which hadn't been a bad thing, because there's a lot going on, but I feel pretty good for the amount that's been completed in the time that we've done. The boat's awesome. The boat is really shaped up to be, we always thought it was going to be nice, but just seeing it come to fruition from the computer screens up there with Dan, and then seeing it come together on the shop floor to actually seeing it painted sitting outside in the sun, it's really a piece of art. It's pretty daggone cool. It really started a few days ago, going through and making sure the bilge pumps are working, make sure all the seacocks and everything are sound and shut off before we go overboard. And when you are starting up a new piece of equipment, you want to have everything off, and you want to make sure that when you go overboard that when you go to each piece of equipment, you're opening up the seacock for the first time and watching it. You're turning on the pump for the first time and visually inspecting it, and getting to the controls of whatever piece of equipment it's doing and making sure it's putting out enough water out of the return, and just different checklist type items. But everything really started a few days ago to be able to go overboard today, and then again this morning going through the list and making sure that we had the wheels properly installed, make sure the rudders are tight, make sure the zincs are on, make sure you got dock lines, you got polyballs, and all the dockside items that you might need that you're not thinking about in the course of the build. But that's it. We have a good team, and everybody kind of has a department that they look after. You got our electrical guys that are making sure that everything's connected correctly in the panel and to the units, and making sure we've got right size breakers for all the stuff, and make sure you got the right, in the course of building the boat, right intake, discharge, make sure everything's running in a clean manner, but it's easy to get to. I don't know, that kind of going overboard stuff started a few days ago. It's not something you can just, hey, let's go put the boat overboard brand new. It's a very premeditated type deal.
Here we go, down the road, get her wet, keep fingers crossed.
The biggest thing was weight. We've kept a running spreadsheet the whole time, and we weighed the boat multiple times through the process of the build, but still you have some uncertainty, although you take every precaution you can in the course of building something like this. It's always been a big factor. Everything that we've looked at and put on the boat, the weight has been the most number one thing. And in the beginning, when we were first talking about this boat, we weren't thinking that we'd be able to get like a water maker or ice maker or any of these other types of like frills. We're thinking it was just going to be kind of a shell of a boat, but to be able to, make the boat light enough to be able to accept the creature comfort items that boats nowadays, all of them have. It's kind of special. It's kind of cool. And then the other thing for me was, again, weight related, but it was, how the boat responds to laying to in the wind, docking situations, how it rides, how it runs, all those types of things which are really, really important after the boat's built. After you've forgotten about the weight part of it, you've accomplished that, you got to think about the daily usage of it. Is it comfortable? Steve's going to be driving this thing thousands of miles over the course of its life, and you want him to be excited to get up behind the helm. You get behind the wheel of some boats and you got to work for everything. Just things aren't laid out nicely. It's not comfortable to drive. It beats the crap out of you, or rolls real bad, or it's really wet, or there's just a lot of variables that boats have that we were hoping that this one we had worked it out, and I feel like we've done it.
What were you guys doing? Is that where you were checking the weight?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the most important part of the day. We weighed the boat, I guess, a little over a month ago, once we kind of had all the equipment on the boat, and we had a set number on the spreadsheet that we were trying to be at, which we were actually 500 pounds under. And so we've had a lot of work that's happened since then. So, the anxiety, the monkey in the room was, is it going to weigh? What is it going to weigh? And so we were very observant of the scale on the travel lift, because that was a very big part of what today, whether it's going to be a successful day or, kind of a bummer day, kind of have to sit back and figure out what we're going to do kind of thing. But luckily we didn't have to worry about that. We hit it just right. So it's all good.
I'm gonna say you're
It's still lower, like everything's settled.
If the wind's moving, all like I said, I like to carpet padding.
No,
and
but
all
I
that,
mean, it's
that kind of-
consistently
that
getting
gets all removed.
lighter.
Like
Everything's settled out. 236 pounds of anchor and chain too. So we're 36,050 minus 2,700. 32.6. We just weighed the boat after doing the math of the straps. Right now, we're with everything in the boat, we're sitting 32.6. So we're 400 pounds under where we need to be. So we're good to go.
What are the things that you're looking for once it hits the water?
Water intrusion. You go check all the running gear, check all the seacocks, make sure nothing weird's going on with the toilets, all that kind of stuff, and just make sure that everything was properly installed. And we have a very professional team here, but things can fall through the cracks, so you just got to make sure that everything and everybody did like they were supposed to.
Which one's you opening, Jerry? Both. All four. All four.
You have to look for vents.
With the aft, at the aft, the aft fitting.
When we took on fuel today, we did it in increments of 50 gallons, just so that we can mark the tanks, and that way in future Steve and crew will be able to know where they're at fuel-wise in the sight gauges for the rest of the boat's life. If you don't do it in the very beginning, you'll never know exactly how much fuel it is and where it's at. So it's very important to take your time and take on fuel, and make sure that you get everything marked out so that you have a reference point for the rest of the boat's life.
I can hold it. I'll let you know.
you get? That's one.
Go through the gears and stuff first. You comfortable with that?
And they may be reversed.
I usually test them.
So we just took on half fuel, and then we checked fuel transfer and pumped 100 gallons forward just to make sure everything's working good with the forward tank. Had man come over here and we started the motors. Everything went pretty smooth so far. So getting ready to leave the dock here in a second. Get the generator started up and all that kind of good stuff. But we're getting close. So far so good.
It's a bad influence.
That's it. Good. Thank you. Yep. Yes, sir.
That's 4 hard over to hard over, is that right?
All right.
Am I straight? Okay. All right, cool. We're 4. It's 4 total. 2 hard over. Yeah, we're good.
Smooth.
Yeah, about Aaron.
I'm gonna pick him back up.
All right. All right.
3 up here. Thank you. It's been so fast, things quick as hell.
Dock today, the very first thing we're going to be doing is feeling out what the trolling speed RPMs are, and getting that 7-8 knot trolling speed and seeing what the boat felt like at that speed. And then after that, pretty much just kind of go through the checklist with what the man guy would like us to do and run her through the ringer and make sure that he has all his boxes checked and make sure the twin disc guy is happy with all of the readings that he's getting from the clutch, and then the CJR guy is looking for vibration and performance and steering and all that kind of stuff. So it's not just the boxes that we're looking for, it's everybody. It's all new, so we're all kind of making sure that our end of the deal is all taken care of. It's kind of, we've got a really good team that we've been working with through the course of the build. Everybody from DBLA, the man, to CJR, Wildcat, everybody, all our vendors, everybody's been really supportive in trying to make this thing as successful as it possibly can. So, it's pretty stressful, but fun and an exciting time.
It feels fantastic. I'll get them off first and then we'll start the deal.
First impression driving the thing. How did it feel?
Felt like Ricky Bobby. I didn't know what to do with my hands. It was so much fun. That boat, it's like a little sports car, man. That thing, Alley Day. I mean, you get her up to trolling speed, and she was about smooth as silk. Pushed her up on top onto a plane. We were at 1,400 RPM, and we were on a plane. Might have been less than that, but just hearing the boat and how quiet it was, I was really amazed on how quiet the boat was. I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you, and that's how it was on the bridge. Like, you could barely even hear the exhaust. You could almost hear the water coming out of the exhaust. It was so quiet. That's a lot to be said, because it's a lot of horsepower and small boat, tight area, and it did so good. It really, I'm beyond happy with it. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, the things that I was looking for were, how it laid to with the wind, and how it maneuvered around the dock, being a lighter boat. She laid to just as beautiful as you could have wanted at you know, with the bow thruster and the 5-blade CJR wheels and, you know, the man motor. She was torquey, and it was just a really, really fun boat to play with. I was really excited the way it came out. Really, really excited.
How fast did we actually get going?
For initial run, you know, I feel like we done pretty good. We had a bunch of people on the boat, but we did get 38.8 knots out of her, which, you know, it's just shy of 40, but I feel like we'll get there once everything's all tweaked out like it's supposed to. But I mean, that's the whole reason why we, you know, pushed hard to try to get this initial, you know, run under our belt to kind of see what we've got and know if there's anything else that we got to work out. And I feel like we've got a few things that we got to work out. It's a new boat, but all in all, I'd say that we've nailed it. We're right there. Everybody did really good as far as the team goes and making this thing come together. During testing, we did have a riser fail, which, you know, it doesn't happen very often, but, you know, it's a mechanical item. It did fail, so we've got to revisit that. But other than that, you know, I feel like it was a pretty successful sea trial.
Boat, right?
It's a boat. That's what keeps us in business.
They break all the time, right?
They break all the time. No matter how much love you give them, it seems like sometimes they just want to be a little snooty, and you have to work it out of them.
You guys were saying on the boat that if this is really an issue, it's a huge success.
It's a huge success, absolutely. I can't get over how well it performed. It just, man, it really did. It really did nice. I can't wait to take it fishing. I hope I get to take it fishing. Dude, I can't wait to have a beer and celebrate, man. I'm jacked up. It's, you know, a lot of our guys, you know, they've been over backwards to try to make sure this is a successful project, and I can't be more happy with our team. I mean, they put their blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. I mean, quite literally sometimes. I mean, it's not just building a boat, you know. I said earlier, it's like a piece of art. Everybody's put their soul into this thing, and it makes it really special, you know. So when everything is successful like it was today, you know, it's a time to, you know, celebrate and be excited. I mean, we still got to finish, but, you know, here it is, Memorial Weekend and everything, and we get to go hang out with our families this weekend and start fresh on Tuesday. It's been a great day.